Hi friends, this is Andrew. Welcome to another 7-minute meditation. This time we're squeaking in what we might call a 7-minute training. So let's get 7 minutes started and see what happens. Because we're talking today about how to share the gospel, how to share the good news. And there are so many different techniques or way to do this. But this is coming from a place of we're assuming we've developed a bit of a relationship, or that we have gotten to that place where we have earned the right to kind of share the gospel message. And there are different methods. Some people are very straightforward and direct. For example, one method I want to share here is what you might call the way of the master. For some, I was into that for a while. I'm not so much anymore. But they're kind of, let's just say, interesting. I don't want to badmouth Kirk Cameron and Ray Comfort too much here. You can make your own conclusions there. But one thing that they do well is to use the law to point to the gospel, to use the 10 Commandments to really show us where we are. And it's a great way. I've looked at my own life, but also been able to share with others to look at your own life. And this would work well in a series of questions. For example, do you think that you are a good person? 9 times out of 10, most people are going to say, yeah, I'm a pretty decent person. And sometimes they'll say things like, well, I haven't killed anybody, so they immediately start to kind of compare themselves morally to others. So you literally kind of can walk through some of the 10 Commandments and say things like, well, have you ever told a lie? Most of us will be able to say, yes, I have told a lie. Have you ever stolen something? Even if it's something small of little value. A lot of us will be able to think of having taken something that doesn't belong to us. Then you can joke around and use humor there too and say, if they say, no, I've never stolen anything. It's like, well, remember, you just told me that you are a liar. And then you can keep going there. The one that gets me is that Jesus says that if you ever look at a woman or a man with lust in your heart, it's as if you've committed adultery with him in your heart. So, ouch, in that regard, I've committed adultery. I hope that's not taken out of context in this video ever. The same thing with murder. I could confess to murder because Jesus says, if you ever hated your brother or sister, it's as if you've committed murder. So Jesus looks at the attitude of our hearts, so we can quickly see that we're a lying, thieving, adulterous murderer at heart. And you can keep going with that. Have you always honored your parents? Using the 10 Commandments to show that these are the 10 basics. These are the 10 minimums even of what it is to be a follower of Christ. And it's not that they're so lofty and so high that we struggle to reach them. It's that they're so minimal that we literally can kind of trip over them, so to speak. I think Erwin McManus, a preacher I love to listen to, mentions that concept somewhere. That the mirror of the law helps us to paint a picture of the gospel. So having said all this, that we're a lying, thieving, adulterous murderer at heart, and this is where it gets very direct and says, so having said that, you've admitted that you're not a good person. You're helping the person, you're not judging them, you're helping them to be their own judge in some ways, to see that if this is how I've behaved, or this is the truth of my own life, do I deserve heaven or hell come Judgment Day? And Jesus did talk about hell. We sometimes in the church world want to de-emphasize hell and sin, but it's this idea of separation from God, that we deserve to be separated from God because of our sin, our having missed the mark, our having ultimately jeopardized the relationship between us as humans and between our God. So something has to be done for that. And this is where you begin to share the gospel in some fashion. But this first part is all about getting there. So the next part would be to talk with them about what the gospel message is. And there are several ways to do that. This is why we'll have another part to this video as well. Because you could use what I like to call, and it's getting kind of dated now, God's 4G network. We're now into LTE and 4K and all sorts of different numbers and letters that I don't necessarily understand, but this 4G network thing kind of made sense when it comes to the gospel. And if you can memorize the 4 G's, which are good, guilt, grace, and gratitude, this then allows you to share with someone the gospel message. And I like that it starts with good. I like that we even started with, are you a good person? Because we are created good. We are created in the image of God. So that's where you begin to take those words and work out your own nuances with them. We were created good. We were created in the image of God. That's the first G. But then guilt enters the world through sin and through death. And something must be done about that guilt. That's the second G. You can share a little bit about sin there and about separation from God. And because of that, we need grace. So we need God's grace. We need a pathway to forgiveness, and that grace ultimately comes through Jesus Christ and in the power and the presence of the Holy Spirit. And then finally, that last G would be gratitude, meaning that it doesn't go good, guilt, gratitude, grace. It's good, guilt, grace, gratitude. That we show gratitude after having received grace. We don't do something in order to earn that grace. So that's why we show gratitude. We live a life of gratitude. We live a life of trying to do what I'm sharing with you, some ideas on how to do now, which is to share our faith with others. So that is a very quick way to share the gospel. We're going to have another video, it looks like at this point, because I have 30 seconds left, and share some other ways to share the gospel. So God bless you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get notifications of when new videos arrive. And I thank you very much and appreciate you. I appreciate you. God bless.